Welcome to instalment number 4 of the Straight Line mission across New Zealand. You rejoin us after some relatively ruthless river crossings, as we reach the exciting section on our line that we'd been dreaming about for months. The prospect of 2.8 kilometres of perfectly straight road was that of a restful recess amid the 25 kilometres we'd already trudged along our line and the mountain range that would start our ascent into later on in the afternoon. So after dropping our cumbersome kayak off to our support crew and taking a short break to rest, eat and change into some adorable matching outfits, we started our journey along the tarmac, enjoying every last footstep without resistance. You may be unsurprised by a car pulling over to say hi, but believe it or not, they weren't just passing drivers who wanted to compliment how cute we looked together in our matching outfits. It was actually a landowner who we had visited a couple months prior when door knocking on our scouting trip, who, despite being rather confused, didn't mind us crossing their property. However, after we had left, she had looked closely at the handout we had given her, showing exactly where we'd be crossing her property, and realised that it went straight through a field that was home to a bull, which was so territorial and had such sharp horns, she herself wouldn't enter its field on foot. She tried to message us to let us know this. However, due to the river crossings we had been carrying out, our phones were deep in our bags, inside many dry sacks and extra bags, to make sure they would remain dry. Dreading to think what could happen if we entered this field, she convinced her neighbour to come and drive her down our line to find and warn us. Now, as a side note, as I'm editing this video, I've just realised how crazily impressive it is that they actually found us. Firstly, they happened to come looking for us on the only section of our line that we had road to walk down, and if we'd been ahead or behind this point when they came searching along it, they wouldn't have bumped into us. And secondly, they managed to work out that we may be on this road, which was kilometres away from their property, from this minuscule zoomed-in photo we'd given them. How on earth they'd managed to extend this trajectory to the exact point where we were is truly mind-boggling, especially since we know from our chats to them that they didn't use a computer tool or program to do so. However, I'm deviating from my line of thought, so to keep my voiceovers within Platinum, I'll return to the conversation on the road. She warned us about this bull I had mentioned earlier, and we thanked them profusely for the effort they'd made to come find us, agreeing to meet up when we got to the property, so we could work out what we were going to do. After saying our temporary goodbyes and a flawless 3-point turn, we kept on moving, feeling touched by the effort a landowner had taken to come and warn us. Oh, and we were also terrified about the bull, but seeing as worrying wouldn't accomplish anything, we kept on walking. I got it. So we've reached the end of Tane Road, the long straight one, see behind us, and we're just approaching a major trunk line of all the trains in New Zealand that goes all the way from the south of the North Island all the way to the top of it. But although that is highly illegal to cross the train tracks, we actually are crossing it like a road level crossing, so it will be a lot safer and probably actually legal as well, which is lovely. And it's nice not having to post incriminating footage of us on the internet. So yeah, we'll be underway on that soon. Train line. Wait one. Yep. Train Remember guys, look right and then left.
Trains, no trains.
And then right again, always when crossing train lines.
Alright, and this way a little bit.
Yeah, on the road again. More cows. Hopefully they're disinterested. Okay, we're a little bit to the right, but I think let's aim for that post there. It is cheering us on. Excited. High fence.
High fence of the trip. So far. Nice.
Bit of a jump in the middle.
Okay. Gonna grab that.
Pass this through. See the very one. Finn Mackenzie. Good job. And now I did that all again. They're cutting right on the corner of it. Boss one could be like that. I think any of these posts from this one. I'll do the GPS.
Yeah. Nice.
Just try and put the weight on the post because it's a little shaky. These are actually, we've been very lucky with not having tall fences. These are the first two that are like taller than normal, like at a max like 5'5" farm height. Sweet. Just encountered some wild grasslands.
We've been told that they should be all good.
There they are. Quite timid animals.
Very timid animals.
They're effectively what we look like to cows.
Yeah.
They like to throw deer, Jake.
Yeah. They don't want any piece of us whatsoever. Which is a good thing.
I think that's a fawn that's got there.
Yeah. That's what we told, that's what we got. Cheers, Mr. Landowner. Quite glad we're not walking through that gorse.
I'm gonna cross the fence.
Oh, making good progress.
It's the first of the pines that we'll be walking up through to the Trespassing.
First impressions, pretty good.
Yeah.
We are not seeing anything green on the ground, which is definitely a good thing.
You can see the dirt, which is lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, and because we haven't mentioned it yet, the orange drip. This is just because we look really epic in them.
Let's go.
Kind of beautiful, eh? We love that. We also love the fact that we're going to go onto the road for a second.
Yay.
So I'll duck under this fence.
Right.
Come up there. Parkour. Yeah, a little bit to the left. And only 3 or 4 meters. Still, they might not be comfortable with us crossing their land through pools, and we have to respect that.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I was thinking whether you could get like a person to distract them on the other side of the field, but
With like a red flag.
no, but then they could get like angry and then charge us around. Also, fun fact, it's not actually the red flag, it's just the fact that it's being waved. There's movement that makes them
There you go.
having a
Fun
button.
fact of the day.
This is great. That terrifies me. Oh my gosh. This random sticks breaking. Oh, there was a woman, another random fact of the day. There was a woman, a while ago I think, that they had just like a pine cone fall on their head and they died. Which is just terrible, you know, case of wrong place, wrong time. You know, like what are the odds of that, right? I mean, actually, you say that, but when you have enough random chance events happening over this period of time, you know, these random seem like 1 in a million things will happen, and therefore having them happen isn't actually particularly unlikely.
Ollie, keep eating. Keep
Yep,
eating.
I will keep eating.
You know, it's like the monkey on a typewriter thing.
That's funny,
If a monkey is typing on a typewriter for an infinite amount of time, it will almost certainly type anything you want it to, including the entire works of Shakespeare.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Just meandering through this up and down terrain. Maybe perhaps a little bit of an insight into what we'll be tackling in the final 2.5 days of the trip. But kind of spirits are good at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, going pretty well.
Yeah.
Some more spirits would be good, but
Nice weather. Maybe even a bit too nice.
it's quite warm.
But
Especially with these gorgeous foxes.
making very good progress. It's only 2 o'clock and we're smashing.
Almost like I've been about a kilometre we officially start in the road.
Yeah. So, doing well, loving life at the moment.
One thing about the camera is it's very bad at picking up people.
Yeah, it's called the GoPro effect.
I almost got my ankle.
What scares me is stuff that like looks steep on a GoPro.
What was that?
What scares me is stuff that looks steep on a GoPro.
Yeah, if you look down to like look at Red Bull Band taking a GoPro, it looks like steep. It's not like fantastically steep.
Yeah, I mean I've looked at like on GoPro and it's like, yeah, I could ride that.
It looks just like that. Looks like moving baby.
Yeah, some of the stuff that people mount like on is ridiculous.
Drop the GoPro. Yeah. Hold on.
The backyard we're currently walking through, we didn't have permission from the landowners, as only a cute cat was holding down the fort when we came knocking, and they didn't answer our phone calls. We were incredibly keen to be fast and silent to minimise any chance of confrontation.
I'm trying to go around that. Jump on the drive right now.
Pardon?
Just jump on the drive now.
Yeah.
Only like 8 meters long.
Here, we finally reached the property of the amazing landowner who drove to intercept us a few hours earlier. She met us outside of a barn, reiterating her concern about us passing through the field of an extremely aggressive bull with very long and sharp horns. Not wanting us to become kebabs, she took us down a path offline to the edge of the platinum boundary so that we could look out over the field the bull was said to occupy, and we could decide what to do. However, from our outlook, we couldn't see it anywhere in sight, so we figured it must be in the very far end of the field, behind a bit of vegetation, away from our line. After much deliberation and uncertainty, we decided that crossing this section of paddock would take us less time than a bull could take to realise we were in its field and then come and greet us. However, we realised as we entered the field that up ahead there was a big rise that we couldn't see over the crest of. If the bull was here, our line would lead us right next to it, well within kebabbing distance. We made the snap decision to deviate slightly to the left of our line so that we could have an escape route to the side of the field should it confront us.
I think I hear him. Might have just dodged a big old bullet.
Thankfully, there was no bull to be found over the rise, and we safely exited the field with our internal organs unscathed. This did mean our big precautionary deviation retrospectively was unnecessary. However, at the time, we didn't have this hugely helpful hindsight, and we were very much not wanting to take the risk, as the effort the landowner had taken to warn us was definitely sufficient to make us wary of this big bad bull. This, coupled with already breaking a platinum run crossing the river, made the decision to make a deviation easy for us. We did, however, make sure we were still comfortably inside the boundary of a gold run, as we were more determined than ever to maintain this level of accuracy. A few minutes later, we encountered our last field of livestock before our ascent into the Tararuas, and, observing the lethal weapons upon their heads, we were very concerned that this infamous bull that we found wasn't in the last field, as we were told, was actually an imposter amongst the herd. After a quick look around, we couldn't see any other livestock in any of the surrounding fields. Feeling a quiet uncertainty within, and the situation feeling a little bit off, we had an emergency meeting and decided to follow our gut and take another accuracy hit.
To go
That's
around.
the ball at the back, definitely the brown one.
Yeah.
And it does kind of pain me, but we've already lost our platinum run, so I just want to finish it at this point and get like a gold run.
Yeah. Let's not die by being gored to death.
As I say, death is not good.
Yes.
Finally, we had made it through the last fields of the western side of the mountains, and our beef with the bovines found a long-awaited ceasefire. While some may find our accuracy in the last kilometre a little disappointing, we both very much felt like it was the right choice to make, and we don't regret following our intuition.
Yeah, it's pretty steep. Still slogging up the hill slowly but surely. I'm probably less than 100 metres away on the road now. So, still feeling pretty good. Head down back into the valley. Continuing on up. Yeah, there's the road up there. Look at the white fence.
Oh yeah, that's safe.
Gorgeous grassy road, which we are not taking. We're going up this hill. I don't know if you can see how steep it is. Like, it's, I'd say about almost 45 degrees, which is quite brutal. Goes up for a few 100 metres. That's what we're doing currently.
Wait, I'm actually going all the way into the ravine.
What was that? This is actually horrendous. I don't think the camera can pick it up, but the line here, the top of my fingernail, is like the ridge, and then that's the bottom, and it's almost vertical.
Right. Shall we get started?
I reckon. Feels so sad to be losing this much elevation. I don't know if you can tell how steep this is, but it's crazy. And then the other side is just an absolute wall of bank. It looks so flat, but it is so steep. That stream. Is it a track? Yeah, it is. Look down there. No way. There's some stag with massive animals over there. Honestly, I think it's the first time I've seen them kind of like without being in fences.
Yeah. We've just come up to a little bit of a reprieve.
Yep.
A little bit less dense, a little bit flatter.
Still pretty steep.
Yeah.
Just
We're
not
just gonna
compared to
keep
what it was.
soldiering on, I think.
Yeah. Cool.
Not too far till we get to the camp, and not very far at all until we get out of the forest. That's all good news. Ollie's just being a legend, still wearing his long sleeve. I don't know how.
They burn too much to distract.
I don't know how he's doing that. But yeah. Just saw another massive deer just over this little ridge, which is awesome. Just went down that little slope there. Can we see it?
The camera probably won't pick it up, unfortunately.
Just at the end of that little channel of trees, majestically standing. Oh, that is sick. And we're at a little peak.
Yep.
It's a win for us.
Oh my God.
Into the farmland. Just slowly trudging our way up these hills.
I like how the vocabulary has changed from frolicking and meandering to trudging.
Yeah.
It's like the act.
Yes. Oh, pretty sore.
the K to the road. 760 metres.
Okay. He'll be there well before 7. I just never stopped. Just up and down, up and down. There's as well. What? It's cool. So we've just traversed over some quite brutal farmland or grassy hills. And we believe through this forest down to the road and the campsite. So, yeah. Feeling tired but hopeful, I think.
Yeah. Glad we're getting close to getting.
That's the vibe. Not too long to go now. We can now see the actual road down there, which is high. We can also see where we're headed tomorrow, into those big old hills, which is not so high. But you know, it is what it is. Yeah. Another little farm road.
We had finally done it.
After 10.5 hours of walking through challenging obstacles and tackling tremendously tiring topography, we had arrived at the road a few minutes from our camp spot for night 2. Day 2 had been another exhausting one in the summer sun, especially with the insulation of our adorable armour. At just shy of 15 kilometres, it was slightly shorter than day 1. However, the huge amount of elevation we gained certainly was reflected by the cramp in our calves. We had some very interesting obstacles, from cornfields, cattle and contours, to the 3 bends in the disgustingly polluted Manawatu. And of course, the holy grail of our entire mission, the beautiful straight road that would have made the Romans proud. Of course, our accuracy had been a little disappointing, as we were so hopeful of a platinum run. However, considering the circumstances, we were still pleased that a gold run was very much still alive. We were also absolutely stoked that all of our planning and scouting of the line had so far paid off, and had meant we felt very well informed about most things we had encountered. Despite being absolutely shattered after 2 long days, we had conquered the first 35 kilometres in, what we like to think, a very commendable fashion. We collapsed into some camping chairs and ravenously ate dinner, before going through our packs and making absolutely certain we had the right gear and food for what was looking to be a very treacherous day in the mountains ahead of us, far from any roads to be rescued from if things went poorly. We said our goodbyes to the support crew, making plans to hopefully rendezvous in a few days' time on the eastern side of the mountains. We walked about 100 metres into the cover of the trees in search of somewhere flat to pitch our tent. After setting up camp in a suitable spot just as darkness fell, we lay snug in our sleeping bags, dreaming of the cow-free mountain range that we would dive into once the sun came up in the morning.
Finn, I think I'm about to break both my legs.